Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. And Joyce, we're still doing the Emmys, and we're going to focus on drama this week. A lot of fun, it seems. A lot of drama.
A lot of drama in the past couple of days, even this morning, Tuesday morning.
Even this morning, yes. We're recording this on Tuesday, so not the greatest day maybe to doing this, but we'll make it through. Joyce. It'll be good. The drama stuff, really too many nominees. We talked about this last week in our big overview. A lot of nominees, potential. A lot of shows coming back. New shows and old shows. Joyce, you were on a binge this week, just burning through everything. You finally caught up to me on Severance. So you finished Severance.
I watched 7 shows in the past 7 days.
It's just relentless. It doesn't stop. It just doesn't.
So yes, I'm all caught up with Severance, like most people, since it just ended on Friday. Yes.
We got a little bit of clarity on their Emmy submissions. It seems like we'll have Britt Lower, I believe, or is it Lauer?
Like flower, according to her Twitter bio.
So Britt Lauer, like flower, will be in Best Actress, and then Patricia Arquette then shifts to Supporting Actress, which
is the
talked
right
about.
Call.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. She's still in our prediction center as of right this second as a lead actress, but I'm sure that will change. We talked about that last week where just like it would be a pretty strong category fraud in the wrong direction if she was in lead, because she's really not the lead.
Yeah, and that was also partially why I didn't predict her in lead, because I felt like they might eventually move her to supporting. Because Britt is the female lead.
She's great. I'd never seen her before, and then I realized I did in Mr. Roosevelt, which is a smaller indie movie that Noah Wells did. You remember her, Noah Wells?
Yes.
It's a really good movie. I think it was on Netflix for a while, and she's in that, and she's great. And I had not seen her really in a lot of stuff, and then she just pops up on Severance, and I thought she's just awesome. She
has a great episode submission. Not that those really matter that much anymore with the finale. So
the finale is great. We get, well, I guess we'll be talking about that show and maybe be spoiling it. So if you haven't watched Severance yet, be careful.
I guess we should just put out a general warning that there will likely be a lot of spoilers for a lot of shows. So
yeah, so you're like, oh no,
we don't like plan out what we're gonna say. So we just wing it. So yeah, so we'll timestamp like segments. So if you're someone who cares about spoilers, you might want to avoid that segment.
Yeah, just skip off it. Yeah. So that was one show, and then Killing Eve ended this week, Joyce. With the finale,
just a polar opposite reactions to those two finales.
So the Severance finale aired Thursday night, I guess, and I felt like I'd watched ahead on the screeners, and I really loved the Severance finale. And I remember telling all my friends, being like, "You have to watch the show," because I don't think a lot of people were even like thinking about it really when it started. Apple does weekly episode drops. And I feel like now people are like, oh, the finale was incredible. Like the response to the finale was so loud online that people, I think, are going to now go back and start checking it out and perhaps really enjoy it, because I do think it's like a pretty solid show. Killing Eve, on the other hand, started strong. I mean, way back when the first season of Killing Eve aired, it was like a very buzzy hit and has kind of petered out. And then the finale, would you say I have not, here's what I would say. I have not seen a response in the negative to a finale in that regard since the original Dexter finale. People really did not like it.
What about Game of Thrones?
I don't even think Game of Thrones is as polarizing as this is, because Game of Thrones, I think people are like annoyed with, but this one, I was like, this is like Dexter level where people are just mad.
I think all three are kind of on the same level in terms of the fan reaction. And yeah, I'm not a Killing Eve viewer,
right?
So I'm like totally impartial to this, but I was just like LOLing at like all the reactions on Sunday.
Like, it seemed like really not what you want. People were very unhappy.
Yeah, and the thing was, it's like this season, it premiered in February, I think. It premiered like the day of SAGs, right? And the reaction was kind of underwhelming in general, I think. So then, I don't know, I guess I wasn't really thinking about like what the finale was going to be, but maybe just based on the season long reaction, it would just be kind of like on par with that. But people really despise it. And I read about what they did.
Yeah.
Choices were made.
Choices were made. A lot like a show that was really kind of, I think embraced by the LGBTQ community, and then they did a bury your gays trope at the end there, which is not what
Were
you
you
want.
around a couple years ago for the 100 controversy
Yes.
with Clexa? Yeah.
I think I was at EW actually for that, and we did a lot of there was a lot of controversy around that, and
I was
was
at TV Guide, and we covered that extensively.
so this felt like that also, but again, I think on a higher profile because Killing Eve was such a really big like lightning in a bottle show in those first couple of seasons at the very least. And so I actually was like, the response was so poor to the finale that I could see it just getting like wiped out in the Emmys here. I didn't have it really rating very highly at all. And Best Actress is still kind of wide open enough, which we'll talk about here, where you could say like, oh, like Jodie Comer probably could get in, or Sandra Oh, but I'm like, I don't know. This was so unliked that I'm like, maybe it won't rate.
It's funny because I put Killing Eve in way back in February when I first did predictions before the season premiere, just because season 3 got in, and that was kind of underwhelming too.
Right.
But then last week I took it out because people were like, the season's not great. And now I still had Jodie and Sandra in. So now I don't regret taking the series out.
So I have the series out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still have both of them in, and I don't like, I could see them like, because they still put in great work. Like everyone agrees, like, it's not their fault.
Right.
And yeah, they were great. So I could still see them getting in and surviving this. And then the other thing is, people did not like season 8 of Game of Thrones. Obviously, it still got 32 nominations. One drama series got 10 acting nominations. So, but Killing Eve is not a Game of Thrones.
Correct.
So it's not gonna
I actually
exceed expectations like that, I don't think.
I took out the series and I took out Sandra. I still have Jodie Comer, but she's hanging by a thread. I have her in 6th in my predictions.
Yeah, so I could see it just getting actors, because sometimes the acting branch is just a completely different beast.
Right.
I mean, it's branch voting anyway. So, I don't know, because they got. I took Fiona Shaw out last week as well, so I didn't put her back in, and that was a very controversial what she did in the finale as well. So.
Yeah, I don't have her in either. I will say, since we last did this, I did put Ozark in. Remember we
well, you did it live last
I did it live, but it's still in, and I actually moved it way up. I have it in 3rd place because
okay.
So there you go. So I have Succession, Squid Game, and Ozark, and I have Better Call Saul and Yellowstone. The things I switched since we last discussed were I booted out Yellowjackets, my beloved Yellowjackets, for Stranger Things, which had a trailer premiere this morning for Volume 1 of season
an hour ago.
4. And it looks great. It still looks good. I don't know. That show hasn't been on in 3 years. I guess I remain unconvinced and unsure of how this will all play out. Like you were saying last week, we have like kind of like maybe we're each of different minds, perhaps a little bit, where it's like for shows like Stranger Things, Barry and Atlanta that were so popular and such like big, strong Emmy favorites 3 years ago, coming back now for the first time in 3 years, do they just stay as like Emmy faves, or are they like kind of forgotten about because there are flashier, newer things that people will be excited about? I have no idea. I have Stranger Things in and I have Barry in, but I don't have Atlanta in for, I don't know, because I just feel like the buzz on Atlanta hasn't been strong, and maybe I'll even take Barry out depending on how that season comes back later this month. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched one episode of the new season of Barry, and not even the premiere.
Wow.
This is how chaotic I am, because I saw that the 3rd episode was called Ben Mendelsohn, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm watching this right now.
Yeah, so but for drama, yeah. So I threw Stranger Things in, and I have Severance, and I'm holding strong on Euphoria, which is those are my 8.
Yeah, I have all 3 of Stranger Things even before the trailer today, and Barry and Atlanta in. I think like that's the safe way to go, but also, yeah, like they could just kind of reject new things, and you don't know how they'll respond to it. I think for something like Severance, it aired at a great time because it's not a new show premiering this week, right? And then there's like an onslaught of spring premieres right now. There's like 50 shows between now and like May 31st.
Right.
Right. like, but it ended 4 days ago, whatever. And so, and like there's buzz around it, and people are like, in love with the finale, so they'll tell their friends to watch, whatever, a lot of industry support, like a lot of famous people tweeting about the show.
For sure.
And so I think, there's enough time between now and voting in 2 months for voters to catch up to this newer show that ended at the right time.
Right.
Instead of starting a completely new show like this week. Yeah, and I actually dropped Yellowjackets 2 today, but I put in Bridgerton. So I have
Bridgerton. I mean, I don't think that's a poor choice. I guess I would say if I was going to drop Euphoria, I might throw Bridgerton in there as well. I just felt like with Yellowjackets, I think an issue is it's again out of sight, out of mind a little bit, because it was kind of peaked in interest, I think, in the winter. And now it's like you said, there's a million shows and like returning popular things and new things that's like Severance that have gotten like that push. And I do think while I think Yellowjackets was really great and I enjoyed watching it, really good mystery. And I think it's in the same kind of genre a little bit as Severance, where it's like a mystery box show that people are like excited to theorize about. My sense, at least reading a lot of like the Reddits and the people who read Reddits, Joyce, was that
you would read Reddit.
the Severance finale, and I think the Severance first season was people really like that, and they feel like it's going to pay off. And I think with Yellowjackets, it was maybe it's not going to pay off, or we're not sure, because like a lot of the postmortem interviews were like the creators being like, "Oh, we were surprised at how carefully people were picking over certain aspects of the mystery and maybe finding mystery where they didn't even intend to put mystery." Whereas Severance, everything seems like it's very well thought out. And even if it's not, they're actually like saying it's well thought out. So like, for season 2, they could potentially pay it off. And I wonder if that like kind of Severance stole a little bit of Yellowjacket shine. And that's why I knocked it out. I don't know.
I mean, yes, it definitely did. Because I think there's more buzz around like Severance now than there was even around Yellowjackets when its season ended.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like to your point of like they're like the creatives, like different reactions to the fan reactions. Like I think, the mystery box element is why people are so much more attached to Severance.
Mm-hmm.
I think like we kind of talked about this last week, because like I don't really watch shows this way. Like I don't try to theorize. Maybe I'm just completely imaginative, but like I don't care about like what they're gonna do or try to figure out. Like
right.
Even with mysteries, like I know they'll eventually tell me. So I'm just watching for the story and like the characters and everything. And even like mystery shows like Big Little Lies, like I didn't care who was dead. Like I know they'll tell me eventually,
Right.
And yeah, so, and I think like, this was kind of like a symptom of Lost and also the internet back then. Like everyone watches a show as if it's a mystery to be solved. And a lot of shows are not mysteries to be solved.
Right.
But and I think sometimes you get so attached to theories in like the Reddit world, and people become like unmalleable to their own theories, and then they get disappointed by whatever the show does. But like something like Severance, you could tell it's so deliberately plotted. And I found I thought the season was too long, even though like the runtime, the last like couple episodes, great, like 41 minutes, solid. But I thought it could have been like 6 episodes, because I felt like, especially the first half, it was just kind of really just happy to like, I don't mean this as a pejorative, but like sort of like spin its wheels and kind of just like be repetitive in letting like the characters like stay in that world like as like innies, Yes. And then things really picked up. Like I thought the last 3 episodes were great.
So I actually put on, so I watched the whole thing obviously, and then I watched I started rewatching it again. So, and then I watched it. So I watched the first episode like about 3 times, I would say at this point. Watching it last night, the first episode, I think you're right. And again, it's a symptom of all of these shows, even the ones I really love. Like I love Severance. I honestly have enjoyed most of these shows, but even like we were saying, like The Dropout, a lot of these like limited series that were movies, if it was 10 years ago, that are now limited series, the first few episodes are incredibly drawn out as establishing episodes, and they end up paying off at the end, but it is a long trek. And if it was a movie, it would be like the first 30 minutes or whatever, rather than the first 3 hours. So Severance had a little bit of that, though I will say, like, watching it again, and this is what we'll spoil this a little bit here. So PS, but like Zach Cherry's character has later in the season is revealed. He's like in his innie is like very excited about like the prizes that he's able to get as a worker bee. And later in the season, it's revealed that he has like a family at home, and it's like really kind of, it sets him off and like throws off his everything, because he finds out like he has a kid that he doesn't think that his innie didn't know about. Right now he does. And maybe multiple kids, though whether that's true or not, we'll see in season 2.
I think Milchick said he has 3 kids. Like
he has 3, but is that true? Who knows, right? Because Milchick's not a trustworthy narrator. But anyway, the first, like literally the first episode, the first thing, like one of the first things Zach Cherry says, I forget his character's name, Dylan, right? One of the first things Dylan says is Turturro's character comes in and is like, "Hey kids, what's for dinner?" or something. Like that's his like hackney like worker like catchphrase. And like they're like kind of busting his balls about it. And Zach Cherry's like, "What are you, like the worst dad ever?" And it's like kind of like crazy, because like he is actually maybe a bad, like, why would you do that why would you sever yourself if you had a family? And it's like little things like that they kind of like see throughout the season that are really cool on rewatch. And I could see why they were probably like excited and thinking about the whole show as like a long movie. But I'm like, who's really going to go back and watch it besides like
you?
Me, right? So I'm like, that's like the push and pull of like these mystery box shows.
Yeah, like it's, I mean, I know like some people who've started watching Severance since the finale, like over the weekend, and like a lot of like the reactions I've gotten is like, this is really slow. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
It was really slow. The first 2 episodes.
Like it also, like last week, or I mean maybe like 2 weeks ago, I was thinking about the Minx pilot.
Yeah.
Which season finale this Thursday, or the last 2 episodes. I was thinking about like how much stuff they do in that pilot in 30 minutes. And on a lesser show, everything that happens in that pilot would unfurl over like 4 episodes, right? Like the first half of the season. But Minx packs so much stuff into those 30 minutes. And I like, like we were talking about like Dropout last week, or like before even, how, like you said, like they take like 3 episodes just to set up all like the background. And yeah, so I feel like more shows should be like Minx, basically. Like
I was thinking, I was definitely thinking that too. I mean, the 30-minute, like it's a different setup, but like you said, like the end of the Severance season, the episodes are like 40 minutes and they're like cooking and like incredibly well paced. And you just wonder, like, can it be tightened up a little bit? I know that season 1, I think, is 9 episodes, right? And now I think season 2, they said it'll be 10. So hopefully if they're 10, they'll be like a little shorter. I wonder if they did, if this season was 10, they would have maybe spaced out like the length. You would have maybe had a longer season, maybe the episodes are shorter. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of like probably the best aspect of the Severance finale is that it's 41 minutes. Like there's no flab at all. And I think that's why people responded to it so well, because it was suspenseful, because like not a second is wasted.
Right.
And a lot of times, even with shows that their normal runtime is like 40-something minutes, for the finale to go all out and it's like over an hour, and then I'm like, no, don't do that, please. But so there's like 41 minutes and it was great.
So what do you think? So like we talked about this last week. You actually had so we have Severance in for drama. I think I did put Adam Scott in.
Oh yeah, I had Adam Scott in. You did.
So I put Adam Scott in today, and I actually dumped Bob Odenkirk, sadly.
I mean, he was snubbed last time.
And I'm like, the season's going to be split, so then they could, he could come back at the end maybe for the final season. So I put Adam Scott in, but we can't put Britt Lauer in yet. Would you put her in for Best Actress? Now looking at Best Actress,
I don't know, because I feel like, I mean, I think maybe like the easiest thing to do is just drop the Killing Eve gals,
right?
And Britt is also like one person. There's not an open spot there, so I feel like they would need to go be like really into Severance to get a bunch of nominations. And yeah, she's not super famous like some of the her fellow co-stars. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you have right now for Best Actress?
I have like the top 6. I have like the what everyone has, like Laura Linney, Zendaya, Jennifer Aniston, Melanie Linsky, Jodie Comer, and Sandra Oh. Oh, I guess we should also talk about Yellowjackets placements as well.
So
'Cause all the
Yellowjackets,
adult Yellowjackets are lead, and all the teen Yellowjackets are supporting. Also a choice.
so that makes it, I think, harder for someone like Christina Ricci or Juliette Lewis, both of whom are
Yeah.
like really strong on Yellowjackets, to get in now, because I think the consensus has seemingly rallied around Melanie Linsky as like the lead actress contender for.
I mean, I think
Yellowjackets.
Melanie can still get in even
Same.
with the other three competing in lead. But yeah, it hurts someone like Christina Ricci the most, who probably could have gotten a supporting nomination.
Exactly.
So
I
don't know. Like,
have-
are you gonna put Brit in?
Well, I might, because right now I have the top. I have Laura Linney Zendaya and Melanie Linsky, and then I have Jennifer Aniston and Jodie Comer, and I threw Carrie Coon in for Gilded Age. I think that show could get in, and I think that she's like really well liked. But I could see putting, I would put Brit in probably over Carrie at the moment, for if I had the opportunity to do so. So I would put
many acting nominations do you think Severance will get?
So I have it in for Brit. I have, when we can do that. I have it in. I would have Adam Scott. I think you're right. I think you were right. Sight unseen last week, that he's really good and like a very well liked actor, and it is like a really tricky performance ×2, and I think he does a great job with it. So I have both of them in, and I'd have Patricia Arquette in for supporting actress, and then for supporting actor, I do have John Turturro. So I have it getting 4, but I could see him not getting in. I don't know. I'm not sold on Turturro. I think he's great on the show, but I mean, there are also like a 35 potential best supporting actor contenders. So it seems like you could make up any list of 8 pretty much and be like, oh, there you go. Like,
yeah, and also like Christopher Walken again to supporting too. So
I don't think he would get in, because I just don't think while he is obviously a supporting actor and not a guest star.
Well, he could get on like name.
He could get on like name, but he's not in it very much. So that was why I didn't like.
No, I guess his best episode is 7. Like that's the retirement party, right? Yeah, right. They're all blending in my head. But,
right.
Yeah, I think like that. I mean, I love that. Who would have thought they'd make such a great on-screen couple, John Turturro and Christopher Walken? But
I know.
I think a lot of that push-pull between them is more just because of the way the show is written. Is more from like John Turturro's half.
Yes, it just doesn't seem like Christopher Walken is.
Yeah, it's a little bit more reactive, and I guess you could probably say the same thing about Helly as well, like the Innie Helly. Well, speaking of what you were saying before about like going back to rewatch, like after the finale, you might want to go back and rewatch the first like 3-4 episodes.
Yeah.
Just see, because Helly spends like the first half, basically her first third, trying to leave or resign, and now it's colored completely differently if you were not expecting that twist that she is an Egan.
Yeah, I was not expecting it, and I was like, it definitely is like a good twist that she is an Egan. I don't know, but it is, and also the way they react to her is, if you watch, it is a really interesting. Milchick and Patricia Arquette's character, both of whom are like, you could tell that she's like an important person. They're very excited that she's there and stuff, and you're not sure why they're so excited when you're originally watching it, maybe. But then like,
yeah, I knew like something had to be up, because like her outie was just so against her resigning, and then like I was also like clocking like Milchick, like I was like, why is he taking all these photos?
Right.
Everything.
Milchick is
that
great.
That was very well done when she sees like all the photos, and that's
so good. That actor is great. Trammell Tillman.
He's actually, I would say he was probably my favorite performance.
Same. And so that's the kind of thing where I'm like, would he actually get in as a supporting actor rather than Turturro? I have Turturro in, and because of name recognition, he's also really good. But like the best performance in that show, I think, is.
I mean, that would show taste. That would show like they're actually watching it, and like they're passionate about the show and him.
Right.
To like single him out over like his bigger co-stars, bigger name co-stars. But yeah, I thought like he played that so well, because like the thing is like he doesn't change the characterization that much, like physically. But like Milchick is so like, he's such a dick, but he's also like charismatic, and it's just like that like almost like a Joker-esque smile, like, but everything he does it's so like perfectly modulated.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that would be a great supporting actor nomination. So and yeah, like Patty, I think, yeah, like it's like supporting, and I think like she, even if like Adam, like no one else gets in, I think she can get in.
So can she win?
Yeah, I guess. I have Julia Garner in
So
first.
I have Julia Garner winning also, and then obviously Sarah Snook is the tops in our odds at the moment. But I don't.
I know, I have Sarah first, but I think like Julia is the performance that they respond to. But I actually don't think Sarah can win, but I have her first just to support her.
Right, that makes sense. I don't know if she's gonna win either, but those are the top two, and I'm like, I don't know. Patricia Arquette could actually. I mean, she's won obviously.
She's a two-time
right,
and so interesting because I feel like her performance is also the most decisive.
Yeah,
because it's a dual role, sort of.
Yeah,
and yeah, so I can see people like being really into how she plays both of them, but I've also seen some people not being into
right. I could see that. I don't know the other people. So I would have her in, and then I'm trying to figure out who I'll knock out. My supporting actress list right now is Julie Garner and Sarah Snook, like we said. Young Ho Yun for Squid Game, J. Smith Cameron for Succession. I still have Rhea Seehorn in there, Joyce. I'm going down with that.
I do too. Probably not on July 12th, but I do have her.
I have Sydney Sweeney for Euphoria. I put Kelly Riley in based solely on a Mark Harris tweet that either you sent me or that I saw on his feed, that he was like, how does Kelly Riley not have 4 Emmys for Succession? I mean, for Yellowstone. Sorry.
Kelly
I
Riley.
get them confused. The same. So it's Cowboy Succession. No, I have Kelly Riley in, and I put Millie Bobby Brown in for Stranger Things. I'll be curious to see what Stranger Things, just thinking of that, watching that trailer today. And did you mention Sadie Sink last week when we were talking as a possibility?
I mentioned Sadie Sink when we were doing our Oscar nominations for next year because she's in The Whale.
So I was thinking of her for Stranger Things Volume 1 because the trailer that they released today, which is Tuesday, is just for Volume 1. So the fourth season is split in two. Volume 1 airs for this Emmys. Volume 2 airs in July for next year's Emmys. And it's only 9 episodes this season. So I can't wait for those hour-and-a-half episodes for Volume 1 and 2. But I have no idea how they're going to split the season. But based on the trailer, the most like prominent people in the trailer are 11, obviously, Millie Bobby Brown, and then Sadie Sink. And I wonder, I'm trying to figure out how will that season be structured, and will there be a lot of Millie Bobby Brown in this first half of the season, or will it be like more focused on Hawkins, which leaves if you don't, I don't think you actually have caught up, Joyce, on Stranger Things.
I am like 2.5 seasons behind on.
So
but you can spoil anything for me. I don't care.
The third season, which aired years ago at this point, 3 years ago now, ends with a kind of like Empire Strikes Back, like / Fellowship of the Ring, like everybody going off in different directions. So like
I remember David Harbour being in Russia with the shaved head, and people.
So he's in a Russian prison, David Harbour, and then Joyce and the Byers family, which is Winona and Noah Schnapp and Natalia Dyer, plus 11, all leave Hawkins. So left in Hawkins are like the main boys and like Sadie Sink. And I wonder if they are focused on Hawkins in the early parts of the season and like the aftermath of what happened there / everybody leaving, then maybe Sadie Sink actually has a lot. We see her at the gravesite of her brother, who was a possessed murderer, I think, in the third season, and ends up like sacrificing himself for the greater good at the end of the season. I don't know. I was like, maybe she, like, I guess we'll see with some of these shows. So I have Millie Bobby Brown in, but I guess there's a long-winded way of saying, who knows if she's even in it enough to be considered in this category or would rate compared to like someone like Sadie Sink. And then maybe the second half of the season is more like a Millie Bobby Brown time to shine. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Millie hasn't been nominated since the second season.
Right.
Yeah. So because they've been nominating David Harbour since then. So I don't have any Stranger Things actors in right now. So
I only have her in. I don't have David Harbour in either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So, but I mean, maybe if you're like talking up Sadie so much, maybe she could, if the whale is successful this season, she can get an Emmy nomination next year.
Or do people forget
maybe
the
she
show?
gets an Oscar nomination for the whale.
We're just very excited about Sadie Sink here. I don't know. Who knew this is a Sadie Sink podcast? The other person I wanted to bring up, Joyce, again, Quincy Isaiah for Winning Time. I threw a dart at him last week, and then watching Winning Time this week, I was like, I feel really good about this. I think he could get in. He's so good as Magic Johnson on Winning Time. This week's episode was a lot about his striving to find a sneaker contract, and also like dealing with the fame aspect of his life and what it means to be like a commoditized athlete, basically, and also his relationship with his like ex-girlfriend who becomes his wife. I just think he's great. I just love this performance. I'm so excited about Quincy Isaiah on this show. I don't know. I hope he gets in.
I still feel like Winning Time, like something like Severance stole the buzz, or I mean, the Winning Time didn't even have like that much buzz. Like
right.
It wasn't the same, but I feel like the buzz that it needs is what like Severance has, you know. But I enjoyed like Winning Time, and yeah, I think I said this last week. Like my favorite supporting actor is Adrian Brody from that show, and
he's great.
He has some great episodes coming up. So
right, you were saying that, and which makes sense based on like what happens in the season and stuff. I don't know. You're right. There's not a lot of buzz, I'd say, for it as much as there is for obviously for Severance at the moment, but I guess we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, it's an HBO show, and it is about the Lakers, and most of these voters lived through the Showtime era.
Right. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, the only problem is I was like, the Lakers obviously are not happy with the show. And neither
Magic is not happy with the show.
Magic is not happy.
Has his own Apple TV Plus documentary.
So it's like, what if the voters are like, oh, we don't want to get Magic mad at us, so we better not.
What if they nominate Winning Time and Magic's doc? I
guess they could do that, and that would make him happy, maybe. But like, I don't know. I was like, what if I'm just trying to like play this out in my head? I also put Alan Ruck in, which I know will make you happy.
Yes, I have all my Succession people, so just in the tank for Succession, obviously.
I am the eldest son.
He must be considered.
This is still. I guess I took out. Let me see. I took out Oh Young-soo for Squid Game to put in.
I think he'll get in. I didn't really change anything.
Well, because I have Quincy Isaiah, who you think
right?
Is not
yeah, I haven't put in any Severance supporting actor yet. I still have my both Better Call Saul guys in there, even though I don't think they're both getting in. I put
Giancarlo Esposito in, and I took out Jonathan Banks.
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, if he got in for season 5 when he didn't really do much, so
right. Though I will say, I think I read an interview with Vince Gilligan or saw he was doing something, or that they were saying like it's a dark season, I think, for Jonathan Banks. So maybe like that would make him have like a meaty, who knows?
Yeah, I know. I just feel like, we talked about this last week. I don't think the actors pay attention to that show, and like the writers definitely pay attention to that show.
Right.
But I don't know about the actors, but but they announced, last week that Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul will be in the final season. So I don't know if that is the first half that's airing or premieres next week, or in the second half that premieres in July, which would make it eligible for next year's Emmys.
I don't know. I kind of felt like the fact that they announced it now meant the first half, personally. But at the same time, maybe...
I mean, it's the final season. They just split it. So they could
right. Who knows?
I don't know. But then is it just going to be like a Claire Foy-esque cameo, but she still won an Emmy for that,
right? Which could
or
easily
like a
happen.
Substantial part,
right? I still have John C. Reilly in. I'm going down with that ship as well. Speaking of Winning Time, just love him. He's so good.
He is. I don't know how to gauge Winning Time. Right
I also don't know. I was just looking at this list. So the people I don't have in then who are like obvious choices above both John C. Reilly and Adam Scott, frankly, in the odds are Bob Odenkirk, though who knows, he was snubbed, like we said, Kevin Costner and Sterling K. Brown, and those two I've been like hung up on because I'm like, what if Sterling K. Brown could easily get nominated, I think, for the final season, and I'm almost like, should I have him in there because of that? I don't know. It's just hard. I don't want to take out these other people because I like the performances better. But easily could just put him in. I'm hope it's what is it? April 12th. I'm hope dicting still, Joyce. Like,
it's fine. We have exactly 3 months until nominations.
Unbelievable. Anything else?
You're trying to support some underdogs, potentially underseen performances. You know, Sterling has a bunch of Emmys. No shade to Sterling.
No.
I don't know what to do. I don't have This Is Us in anywhere above the line.
Neither do I. And again, it's one of those shows where I'm like, it definitely has kind of tailed off, I guess, at least in the public consciousness, right? I think it's still popular and like people like it, but
and
it's not like
the fans like really like the final season. And
right. It's definitely not like a Killing Eve moment, I don't think. But it does feel like it's not as top of mind, or it's again like an older show that is not as, hey, look at this new shiny thing. And I don't know how that's gonna, maybe that doesn't matter, or maybe, you know, this is the last time, so maybe it does get in a bunch of spots. I don't have it in anywhere, but maybe that's just a mistake. I don't know.
Well, like Sterling has always gotten in. I don't know. And like the show made it back in last year after it was snubbed the year before, but because it was really competitive 2 years ago, and last year obviously it was a little more open.
Well, that's why also I don't have it in.
The field is packed again.
Right, because the field is packed, and I wonder if it just is like, oh well, we don't need to do it for the show. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And like, you know, people love Mandy Moore as well, and she got that surprise nomination a couple of years ago when she was snubbed the year before, and then they were like a year behind on her, and then, you know, obviously Rebecca will likely die.
I actually have I had her in for like a brief second earlier. I was like, what if Mandy Moore gets in?
I thought about it, because I was like, if I drop like Sandra and Jody, like should I do like Mandy? Like I think she's like around like 10th or something.
Yeah, I could see her getting in, because again, like we're talking, like I guess the problem with Best Actress, or a thing with Best Actress, is you have like both Killing Eve stars, and then you have like Jennifer Aniston as well, all for shows that were not as strongly received for this season.
It's so funny how we're talking about like Severance getting all these nominations and Apple's first potential drama series nomination, and not Morning Show, which did not get series last time.
So I'm like, maybe actually Mandy Moore gets in. You know what? I guess I just am like, I don't know. It does feel like of all these categories, like there's a lot more room, I think, in Best Actress than there is in the other ones to find like a few upset picks. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow, Carrie's Coon is an 8th. Is that because of you?
No, I just put her in today.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, Gilded Age. I don't know what to do with Gilded Age either, because I think people enjoyed it when it aired. It's a low stakes show, and I love a low stakes show. Like I finished Julia last week. Similarly low stakes, but greatly enjoyed it.
I gotta say, I was like disappointed that Julie is not here, but then I'm like, thank God, because it makes it so much easier to get it in places.
In comedy.
Yeah, even though I don't think it's a comedy, but it's no more of a comedy than Winning.
It's a dramedy. It's sort of like it's like Gilmore Girls, I guess. And even though I was like kind of dreading the runtime, because a lot of the episodes are like 48 minutes, they went by pretty quickly. I wasn't like checking the countdown on the episode.
It's a very we'll talk, I guess we can do comedy next week maybe, but I would say Julia is a very it's a very easy watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though the episodes are, I agree, like that was when my wife was like, oh, let's watch, or I knew she was interested in watching it, and I was like, great, I made you watch like Super Pumped and Winning Time, which, so like we can watch Julia, that's fine. And I was like kind of dreading it, because like you said, the episodes are very long. And no, but they were very watchable. Everything is long.
How was the Super Pumped finale?
Boy, Joyce, I was like living my truth on that. That's a limited series that I absolutely loved. It had it opens with Pearl Jam's Alive, so already like in, and then it has literally like there's a part towards the end where Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Travis Kalanick turns and talks to the camera, and basically is like, it's like a mix of Vice when Christian Bale talks to the camera as Dick Cheney, and then also like the speech of Jack Nicholson gives in A Few Good Men.
Okay.
Like, you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. And then it ends with Yellow Ledbetter, which obviously it would, as the biggest Pearl Jam fan in the world. I was like, yes, hell yeah. It just was such a fun watch. There's a whole sequence where Kyle Chandler explains the plot of the movie Life, with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. If you remember that sci-fi horror.
I do remember that. I remember the promo tour for that more than anything.
So that it plays a part in this because they compare Travis Kalanick to the murdering, world annihilating space alien in life.
Incredible. So
it was a really entertaining show. It was really entertaining. We'll do limited series maybe a couple weeks or so, but I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I don't know.
Yeah. Can't say I've watched it yet, but I watched your other favorite show, WeCrashed.
Oh, so. Just the best. WeCrashed is great. Another winner, Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway doing all the acting. Joyce.
Anne is completely serving, and I would be completely okay with her winning.
I have her in. We're not doing limited today, but I will say I put her in, and she's still like the odds on her are way too. She's not getting enough respect in these early stages.
I don't know. I feel like people are not watching the show because of Jared and like, everything about him and his over the topness and then like House of Gucci and everything. But I liked him here more than I did in House of Gucci. Like I wasn't like turned off by him at all. And like I was like, LOL, like Jared Leto in House of Gucci, like just, no one told him no in that movie. But I think he gives a better performance here, but I feel like no one is watching the show.
It's funny, like it's so like I feel like just in general, the consensus around Apple this year has been like, hey, Apple's great, right? Like I feel like just got awesome content, right? Like whatever, they like Coda won Best Picture, so they're clearly like doing great. They have Ted Lasso, that's still like a very popular show. They come back with Severance, obviously was like one of the bigger water cooler hits, and I put that in air quotes because nobody has a water cooler. But like it does feel like that show did have like a little bit of a resurgence there, and then it has, After Party we loved. It just feels like they have a lot of good stuff. And I mean, WeCrashed, I think, was like hurt by the fact that there are 3 different shows about Silicon Valley right now that were
there are so many scammer shows.
All reference each other. Like Jared Leto gets referenced in The Dropout, and like the Uber, I guess Uber is referenced in WeCrashed, but also
WeCrashed, like they cover or they play the news clip of Travis Kalanick.
And like the Benchmark Capital, which is like what the group that like backed Travis and Uber is also part of WeCrashed, WeWork. So it just is like all these things are all like kind of intermingled. And I just think that for whatever reason, WeCrashed is the one that's gotten like the least amount of buzz, though I could say the same for Super Pumped, perhaps, because I didn't see a lot of people talking about that one either. The Dropout really took all the oxygen. And at the same, I'm like a little disappointed because, like you said, I think Jared Leto is actually great on WeCrashed. He's like really funny.
Yeah, like I think it's a better performance than like House of Gucci.
It is.
I don't think that's a hard bar to clear.
No, but I actually think he should get nominated. And I mean, Anne Hathaway is like transcendent on WeCrashed. She is so much going for it. She's doing a voice that's like sort of like the Elizabeth Holmes voice. The woman she plays is Gwyneth Paltrow's cousin. So you get like she's just is hilarious. And
so if this show were bigger, someone would have already made a supercut of all the Gwyneth mentions.
She dresses as a Na'vi from Avatar. You might have seen on her Instagram account. It's incredible. And I would say like the thing that I've been impressed with WeCrashed, while I'm still not sure of the POV necessarily. And I think that's like maybe the one demerit of the show where it's like, I think Dropout, you were supposed to, if not empathize with Elizabeth Holmes, because she is like, does a lot of amoral things and is not seemingly the most upstanding person. I think the show tries to explain why she is the way she is, right? I got a lawnmower outside, Joyce. I'm screaming over.
I can hear it. I like this background noise.
But with WeCrashed, I still don't know what the POV is because it's like not really an indictment of, I don't think it is an indictment of them, but also it's like not really like pro them, obviously. It's just like, I just don't know what the POV is.
It's
but
kind of like showing what happened.
Right. But I do think that, I don't know. I think that in a different actor's hands, the Anne Hathaway part would just be played fully for jokes and like kind of like really dunked on. And I feel like Anne gives her, while she is a at times laughable person, I don't think it's like mean spirited. I don't know. I think she's like actually like tries to like, she tries to like find the humanity in that character. And I just really like her performance while at the same time finding her hilarious. In the one of the episodes that was just on, so you finished it. I'm watching around with the people, Joyce. I love watching things with the people. So the one that was just on, I think it was the 6th episode. She does like the thing where she's got the whiteboard and she's like writing everything that they want to do. And I think one of them was like, we food parentheses vegan. It just was like, it's just such a fun. It's just like the show is funny. It just is a good show.
Well, no, I died when America Ferrera yells at her and like walks out, and then Anne starts to cry, but like she's in like full makeup, so she just takes the tissue and like puts it like right underneath her eyelids so she could protect her makeup. Just
incredible. So we're again, they're limited. It's just too much fun. We cannot talk about limited series.
Maybe this year Apple will conquer drama, and then next year it'll conquer limited.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm also with Severance. Back to that, you're right. I think that this is like the high moment for Severance, and like feels like people are really excited about it. But is it really going to get 4 acting nominations, like I would presumably predict it for? I don't think so. And I think if I was going to knock somebody out, it would probably be Britt Lauer, just because of her lack of name recognition, even though I think the performance is very worthy. And then maybe even Turturro, because I just think you could see a world where Turturro and Christopher Walken like kind of split their own vote, and maybe neither one of them gets in.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mr. Robot season 1.
Which one?
Mr. Robot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like similar high concept show.
Yeah. Sort
of thriller-esque. You can maybe, some people might call it sci-fi. And you know, I don't think Adam Scott's performance is like, you know, the character is not on the level of like, you know, Rami Malek's and Elliot Anderson in Mr. Robot.
No.
Right, that was his name, right? Elliot?
Yes.
Yeah. Like it's been too long. But you know, that did well in season 1. Not so much in the later seasons, but I don't know if that was also like the USA of it all, you know, where it aired. But I guess you could also say like Apple is, outside of Ted, is kind of unproven at the Emmys as well. But it just, the way people watched the show and caught on to the show like throughout the season, and then the anticipation and the reaction to the finale kind of reminds me of that. Although the Mr. Robot season 1 finale was hampered by a real life shooting, unfortunately, that they delayed the airing. Yeah, so I could see it. What did Mr. Robot get? It got fewer than 10 nominations, I think, in the first season. So I could see like season 1 of Severance being in that ballpark, maybe, or it could just completely explode.
Yeah, that's I always say I don't know, but I'm just like it feels both a little early and also like what's going to stick around. I guess I just don't know what's going to stick around. Like the enthusiasm.
I think it could get into writing. The Severance can get into writing and directing for Ben Stiller.
Right. Ben Stiller, I love his directing on it. It's so great. I was actually a slightly disappointing part about one of the postmortems was that he apparently has another movie that he's also going to be shooting this summer when they're going to be shooting Severance season 2. So I think he said he was only going to maybe direct 2 episodes instead of more. I think he directed 7 of the 9. I will say the other director.
He did 6. I don't think he did the middle 3. Yeah.
So the other director was Io McCardle, I believe.
Yeah.
And she did an amazing job as well. I thought her episodes were really great, and she was not somebody I was familiar with, so much so that I'm sure I butchered her name when I just said it. But I know no, I was really impressed with her. So if she's going to end up doing more episodes in season 2, that would be great. But I did also think Ben Stiller was like really impressive in season 2.
And I think he could submit the finale as his, like, he
should submit the finale. The finale to me felt like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of what is the Christopher Nolan movie Inception, Joyce?
You forgot the name of Inception.
I kept thinking Interstellar. Inception, Joyce. When they're it's mostly the third act, when they're all like trying to go up the levels, and they're in the van that's slowly falling. It's almost like a comical meme that the van is falling off the bridge, and like it's just moving incredibly slow while everything is happening. But it felt like that with the pacing, because it was just the cutting between each section and like where they were and how it was kept building momentum and building tension was just a masterclass. I just thought it was so good.
Yeah, and again, a crisp 41 minutes for
we love a 40-minute show.
Yeah.
I have no answer for this. Why do you think everything is too long? Movies are too long, shows are too long. What is it?
I think it's because now like fewer things are I mean, broadcast TV still exists, obviously.
Right.
But with streaming and premium, they're not dependent on ads. So they feel like they have all this real estate, and it's just like, let's, stuff as much things as we want into this thing we're creating. And like no one, I don't think it's like a lack of notes, because we hear about creatives all the time about the notes they get from, higher ups and stuff. But I think like they know like timing is not an issue. And then they feel like, oh, if maybe like they're debating cutting a scene or whatever, and then it's like, oh, we have the time, like we can keep it, and like who really started this trend is like Kurt Sutter. His shows, like this is like 10 years ago, but like Sons of Anarchy, like, oh, so long, like over an hour long, those episodes.
It's
and it
tough.
just kind of like bled into all these other shows and all these like services, and they don't have to worry about time.
No. And sometimes it works. I mean, honestly, like not everything is too long, but everything is definitely longer than it would have.
Yeah, no, I'm not against like long runtime when it makes sense for the story. Like after I'm done watching, I'm like, that was worth my 3.5 hours.
Right.
But sometimes I feel like it's just something unedited, and then it's like you could make this tighter, certainly.
Joyce, any other dramas here before we skedaddle that you want to hit on that we haven't talked about?
A show we haven't talked about?
Well, you had Bridgerton, and you only have it in for series, no actors.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, last year Reggae John Page got in. I feel like it might be a little too crowded for Jonathan Bailey this season. So yeah. I remember last year people were predicting multiple acting nominations for Bridgerton. Yeah. So it was like all like lead for like Phoebe, like Oliver supporting. So I don't know about Jonathan. I think, if would Bob Odenkirk get in before Jonathan Bailey?
I don't know. I don't have either of them in, but I don't know. I think Jonathan Bailey would get in before Bob Odenkirk.
I think like Bridgerton is a popular show.
That's why it's incredibly popular. And even the second season, while I'd say the response again was not as loud as the first season, it was still pretty loud. It was a huge hit.
I mean, I think it was always gonna be that way. Oh, you know what? One of the 7 shows I watched this week was Pachinko. I finished it.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Great show. I wouldn't say it's a binge show. I did not binge it. I watched it like over several days. I mean, I started it before last week, but I still have Ye Jung-yoon in. But I would totally nominate the younger version of her character, played by, or well, not the child, but like the
no, I know what you mean.
Kim Min-ha, like she has like some incredible stuff in the last couple episodes. And if you watch the finale, you will totally cry in the last 5 minutes.
Did you cry? You never cry.
I did not cry. No, I don't cry. I told you the last time I cried watching TV was when Dr. Green died on ER 20 years ago. But like the last 5 minutes of the Pachinko finale, it's not even like plot related really, but it's very moving. So
okay.
And I don't know, like I want to put it into drama, but I don't know if it'll make it, and I don't know if Apple will get 2 in.
Right. And that's the thing. It's just there's too much. Yeah. Well, I guess we could wrap it up there. We'll be back this week. We're going to do another one of our Oscars playbacks, Joyce.
Should we say what year it is or what ceremony it is? Or
yeah,
no?
we're going to do the 1990 1997, right? Oscars, or is it 1998? What was it?
Well, it's
1997.
the ceremony took place in 97 for the
97
Oscars
Oscars for the
Yeah.
96 movies, which is a great transformational year, I would say, for the Academy.
It was the year of the indies.
It wasn't the year of the indies, and it's hilarious that I think it is definitely more of like the modern Oscars than we see now, but also the next year was Titanic, I believe, right? So it didn't really last that long. The indies did not last forever here, but until now. But yeah, so we'll do that as well. And then next week we'll come back for this, and maybe we'll do comedy. Touch on the Minx finale, Abbott Elementary finale.
Yes, and Julia.
A lot of fun stuff. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Joyce.
Bye.
Bye.